Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Roundup. We've covered this week's Marvel books as well as an entry from Image Comics. Now it's on to this week's DC titles. Starting off with Batman number 109. Where we left off with Batman, you had a framing device of him being held prisoner by the Scarecrow, and thinking back on the events that led to this. Most recently, he infiltrated the Unsanity Collective, trying to do so as Matches Malone, but Miracle Molly figured him out, at least figured out that he was Batman, and actually, and revealed that, some of their recent actions were performed at the behest of Simon Saint, who, as we know, is trying to install a paramilitary police force in Gotham to deal with Gotham's mask problem, and who is basically the number one villain throughout the entirety of the current Bat books. So, Batman's trying to escape from the Scarecrow and trying to fight off the fear toxin, and thinking back as going back to everything. But he returned home and contacts Oracle, lets her know that he's back. More Scarecrows have shown up. One in the lobby of the GCPD Central Precinct, another at the altar of the Old City Cathedral. And Oracle also lets Bruce know that she might have gotten a glimpse of Crane himself looking over the mayor's speech to the city the other night. That said, the populace is going nuts, and it's basically a Scarecrow fear gas attack without a single drop of fear gas being used. Batman's going to deal with Simon Saint. Ghostmaker has brought Harley to his ghost cave, or the haunt, he calls it. High-tech computer system, sweet car, dinosaur, explaining that when Harley asks about the dinosaur, he simply says that, Batman had a dinosaur in his cave, so he has a bigger dinosaur. Apparently, Harley had no idea that Batman had a dinosaur in his cave, but she thinks it's awesome, or amazing. But apparently Harley fascinates him. Since he tried to have her killed, and she kind of said, "Hey," she said to the person that he was trying to get to kill her, he just kind of, "Hey, you know what? Just do it." So yeah, But she inquires, is this one of those you're bringing me here to kill me, or you're bringing me here to bang me kind of things? The best he can commit on that is little column A, little column B. But he explains there are fewer than 5 people alive who have seen his entire face, only 3 that know his birth name. And so he asks how many people knew the real Harleen. And she says 2 of them. One of them used that to control her, Joker, and the other used to set her free, Ivy. And she also adds that she didn't know what she had till Ivy was gone, and so she's looking for her. When they're suddenly attacked, but they're set upon by... Well, Ghostmaker assumes that Ivy was a psychopath, though she's interrupted by Bella Gartman, Ivy's college girlfriend. Apparently, Ivy is underneath the city, and if anyone comes to her, she will drag the city down into the caves. Which is really messing with what's going on in other books, too. Because, no, that's not where she is, unless this is happening after the events of Catwoman. Which may be. But Bella insists that Ivy needs Harley. But Oracle contacts, makes her way into Ghostmaker's icon system and lets him know that there's what's going on. But while talking with a member of the mayor's office, while simultaneously talking with a member of the mayor's office, Batman shows up, deals with one of his associates rather quickly, and actually impresses Saint. However, Saint's got more tricks up his sleeve, namely Peacemaker 01, who does actually prove to be somewhat of a match for Batman. But Batman is able to, utilize some of his tricks on him. And the issue ends with basically the beginning of that fight. Now we've got the Ghostmaker backup story. Ghostmaker on Double Skull Island dealing with with Madame Midas and some of his few surviving villains who've been recruited by Midas to tell her just how to take down Ghostmaker. And we get Brainstorm, who is everything with him is done very much in a nod to Akira. His look, some of the locations that they utilize, some of the the aesthetics of some of the locations. But yeah, he was experimented on as a child, and various unlocked mental powers. Yeah, he wiped out the corporation that made him, then sold his services, and yeah. But eventually, he got free, and like the rest of them, he thinks that Madame Midas is absolutely crazy, and that she is so screwed once Ghostmaker gets to her. Batman's story's getting good. I still don't know how I feel about the fact that we basically over the course of January or February, DC basically said, "Hey, here's how things are going to look in about a year or so, at least with the Batman books." Because everything's coming in. I mean, we got Peacemakers. The next book we're going to go over is giving us the origin story for the next Batman. I mean, it's yeah. Anyways, but it's still interesting to see how it comes. I really wish we weren't already being given okay, well, here's all this, and oh hey, here's this new stuff that's gonna that's leading to what you just read. It's like, no, just you don't hold off on the conclusion until the conclusion. But yeah, I mean, it's an engaging story. I'm digging it. Honestly, the Harley subplot's actually kind of neat. Is probably one of my favorite parts of it, though. It's interesting. I think the first time I ever read the first comic I ever read that had Harley as a regular cast member was Suicide Squad of the New 52. And after that, she started popping up. She popped up in in Batman. Started on a regular basis, starting in issue 101. And since Richard popped up in that issue too, I started reading. Like, okay, this seems cool. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm also enjoying her book. But yeah, so. But it's. That said, continuity is definitely being kept up with because Simon Saint does make mention of some of the events going on in Detective Comics as well. So we know that shit's hitting the fan in Gotham from multiple directions. So it's just a regular day. But moving on to the Ghostmaker story is great. It is hilarious. I love the nods to Akira throughout this chapter of it with Brainstorm looking very much like Tetsuo. So yeah, it was it was cool, and it's nice getting to see a solo adventure of Ghostmaker. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got The Next Batman Second Son, number 3. Right? Yeah, number 3. Where we left off, Jason, if I remember correctly, Jason actually got his ass handed to him by a bodyguard of someone of a corporate type that was that he had tried taking down earlier in the series. But the bodyguard is tested out, but we get confirmation as to who she is. Her name is oh shite. Ibaha O'Rourke. It's explained that she's everything her father trained her to be. He was IRA, an expert in vanishing people during the Troubles. Ibaha, not Ibaha, trained with the Kimanaban. So yeah, she's quite the talented fighter. But Jace's mother basically so the JCP to give Commissioner Montoya a court order to seal evidence in the Enrique Acevedo case. Lucius Fox and Luke Fox have a discussion about how they are, and each figures the other needs help, but they're fine. Jace has his deposition, but he's given a statement by his mother. He goes off script and tells what actually happened. It was his 17th birthday. He was on his way to see a friend, hit someone with his car, and it was a hit and run. Went to his dad. His dad basically, said exactly what to leak to the media. But yeah. Montoya talks with one of our two GCPD officers we've been following through the series as well, Chubb. Namely that apparently her partner, Whitaker, ran into Batwing and Luke Fox and didn't arrest him, even though they're supposed to be arresting masks. But after the whole hit and run thing, Jace got sent off to an international boarding school, Sanford Military Academy, where he met Vol and what's her? And Hidayah. Vol is the voice that is constantly in Jace's ear. Hidayah is apparently a former classmate of theirs as well. But after a self-defense, a sparring class, in which he gets his ass handed to a teacher, he goes back to the teacher after having talked with Hidayah, and basically says, hey, you're still willing to teach me. I'm ready to learn. And so we get how he learned to fight. Overall, next Batman, Second Son is shaping to be quite good. I'm kind of digging the fact that even though it's the next Batman, it's not a future state book. It seems to be happening more along the same lines as Batman, Detective, so on and so forth currently. But looking at a different angle of things. Also, next month's issue is the final issue. So, yeah. It was a miniseries from the get-go. So, I mean, yeah. Anyway, moving on to our next book, we've got Batman Catwoman, Book 5, finally. Where we left off, okay, so in the old one Selina killed the Joker, and presumably also Penguin. Let's see. Phantasm had taken in the two earlier portions of the timeline. In one of them, Phantasm had seemingly kidnapped Selina, and in another point, Bruce and Selina broke things up. Bruce broke things off with Selina. So, in the future, in the future arc, Harley shows up at Wayne Manor, knowing full well what Catwoman did to Joker, and wanting to kill her for it. In the portion of time after her and Bruce split up, Catwoman gets super drunk in a bar. Asks for the most expensive, drinks the most expensive bottle in the joint. Gets nice and drunk. Next time, she's not paying for it. She's going to steal it. Kind of a, what's going to happen is, Selena slowly take the bullets from the bartender's gun. Bartender gets frustrated, swing the gun at her, and she'll duck because she's fat and slow. Then she'll take the old empty bottle she drank all the way up, so they're not wasting anything, and crush it on his head. And she does just that. In the other portion of the timeline where she was kidnapped by Phantasm, Selina does kind of mention if they should be fighting or not. But, and she's asked, but if I had asked, do you like fighting? You're like, no. But she enjoys having the blood of anyone who crosses her in her claws, but everything that precedes that, she could give or take. And so Phantasm explains that she's going to get some blood out of her claws. She's going to get some blood for her claws. So in the future, old lady Harleen and old lady Selina duke it out. Though, turns out Harley always thought that it would be someone like Superman or Batman that would kill Joker, not Selina. And she told Joker this apparently multiple times, and he'd apparently say, those fine heels, Batman, Superman, what have you, they have seen me do many things, many terrible, horrible, shameful things. He did demonstrate it a terrible, horrible, shameful thing by killing someone if someone was available. If not, he'd do that part later. Then he'd look away and he'd cry. He'd actually cry actual tears and say, "But Selena, what she's seen." Then he'd be quiet. It's the only time he was ever quiet. And yes, Harley is mad that Selena killed Joker before she got to do it. So back with drunk Selena, she wants to steal something. Figured there's probably some kind of cat-related thing at the Gotham Museum. With Phantasm, Phantasm has brought her before a chained up guy by the name of Sal Neisman. Explained that Neisman was a Joker fanatic, followed him around his whole life, poster over the bed, picture in his locker. But apparently he would recruit other like-minded people. And what they would do is they'd test the gas. And Phantasm intends to kill this guy. And even goes as far as to say, and Phantasm even stops and says, "Okay, well, this is the point where you're supposed to stop. Where you're supposed to stop me. If you want to fight, this is when we do. This is when we do it." So he's like, "Go for it. Do it." Eventually, Selena manages to subdue Harley in the future. Drunk Selena crashes through the skylight of the museum onto a dinosaur skeleton. Batman comes to her aid. Well, she's still trashed. And then in the Phantasm and Selena are discussing their thoughts on each other. That, and well, Phantasm thought that, since Bruce can be so consuming, that Selena would be consumed. Well, apparently Selena thought that Phantasm would be a psychotic killer, or broken inside out. And so and Selena says at least one of us got it right. Also, it should be noted that Phantasm's base is the Gotham World's Fair location from the Mask of the Phantasm movie. In fact, the wife robot is even there holding up her knife, even if it does switch hands. But Huntress comes home and finds an unconscious Harley Quinn on the floor, handcuffed, asking asks her mother what happened, and well, Selena's answer is simply, "What can I say? The world is full of crazy fuckers." That is where the issue ends. This should be the non-linear storytelling is annoying. The constant jumps, but that's really you have to do non-linear storytelling. Yeah, it's still just, it does kind of hurt the head sometimes. Still, I mean, it's an engrossing book. It's engaging. I'm so glad that Phantasm is part of the DCU proper now, not just the DCAU. I mean, hey, Masked Phantasm, great movie. Epilogue from Justice League Unlimited, probably one of the best episodes of the show. Definitely one of the best Batman moments too. The bit with Ace. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's nice to see see her being finally brought into the DC universe. I'm actually surprised it's taken them this long. Anyways, moving on to our next one, we got Justice League number 62. Where we left off, Brutus, the League's new enemy, had rather on his home turf, no less, admittedly, had taken down Superman and Black Adam. Rather handedly too. So Hippolyta shows up at the Hall of Justice, wanting to apologize for being kind of shitty to the League earlier. Flash shows up and is like, yeah, well, honestly, we haven't given it a second thought. It's fine. But then he realizes he messed up the math when he sent the League to Naomi's Earth. Calls him Mr. Terrific. But we also catch up with Aquaman. Apparently, he's been picked up by some of the locals on the Earth. Turns out they're closer to Ohio. But he was by himself when they found him. The fight continues with Black Canary being using her amped up sonic powers to knock Brutus on his ass. Works for at least a little bit. Then Hawkgirl hits him with her mace. Aquaman shows up in a tank that he borrowed from his saviors and shoots Brutus with it a few times. Adam and Naomi get a real look at the world, and there are craters, impact craters throughout. Then, however, Hippolyta shows up with Flash and kind of say, hey, we gotta, world needs saving. We gotta, But Hippolyta is able to seemingly also, upon arrival, to basically knock the shit out of Brutus. However, before they can leave, Zimbardo shows up. Zimbardo is the ultimate warlord around and Brutus's boss. Also, he has his history with Naomi. In the Justice League Dark story, Merlin's looking for a specific point in the North Atlantic Ocean, while the Justice League Dark is in the Library of Babel, dealing with Merlin's constructs. They it becomes clear that Jason Blood's been offered a bargain by the heavenly forces to go back out onto Earth. Also of note is one of the books in the Library of Babel is Justice League Dark 2021, author's notes, Ram V. One point made is, at some point, one of our characters will learn Zatanna's secret that the Upside Down Man's power and influence lingers within her, growing each time she uses her powers and pushes herself beyond her limits. But a word gets added to each book, just to piss off the man inside the book. So, Constantine makes a deal with him. Tell us what the wizard took and how to find them, and he'll send things back the way they were. Some maps. Turns out what he was looking for was ancient Atlantis, which Merlin has found the ruins of. Again, just like with Batman, Justice League Dark is very clearly pushing us towards the Justice League Dark backup story that appeared in the Future State Justice League mini. I'm not really complaining, it's just, like I said, we know how that story ends. So, I want to see the end of that story at the end of this, not know how it ends and then see how it began. Sometimes that works, but yeah, not always. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, stories are really good. I've mentioned this before with Justice League, with Bendis writing, it really does feel like his. It actually does feel like his early Avengers were early. It feels like the his early 2000s and early 2010s New Avengers work. And I do say that in a very good. That's meant to be praise. I don't. I enjoyed that run, and everyone do, unlike unlike Legion, each other does have their own voice. Because with Legion, an issue with Bendis is he does have a tendency to write young characters the same way. Everyone sounded the same. It was hard to keep track of who was talking, who was saying what, as I'm sure you noticed when I was reviewing Legion. In this, it's easy to keep track of who's talking because everyone does have their tones, and that, which is great. But anyway, moving on to our next book. We've got Crush and Lobo, number 1. So Crush is the daughter of Lobo. Who's Lobo, you might ask? Lobo's the main man, the last Zarnian. Baddest bastard in the galaxy. Though he's not the last Zarnian anymore, but the next to last, because, daughter. Oh yeah, and he can't die. So, Crush is a member of the Teen Titans. She has former member of the Teen Titans. While taking on a very clear ripoff of Krang from TMNT. Oh yeah, her motorcycle. It's the bike from Akira. But she goes to, after taking on not Krang, she goes to her girlfriend's birthday party, meeting her parents, and well, initially yes, she does have a nice time with her girlfriend. Things just yeah. She's got to go, and then she remembers. Oh wait, I just fought an extraterrestrial with. I didn't decontaminate after fighting that not Krang. Uh-oh, and yeah, ruined the birthday party. So, but Crush and her girlfriend split up. And then a few days later, Red Arrow shows up to, talk to Crush, kind of about, hey, what's wrong, what's going on? And it turns out that Lobo's in space jail, and has invited her to come see him because it would probably be good for him and stuff. Red Arrow thinks she should do it, and also kind of points out that she's got a bunch of travel mugs. Like, she's clearly running from something. But so Crush steals a I don't know if the Titans call her plane now. Steals one of their ships, goes to space jail to see her dad, who more than likely is pulling some kind of scheme because he's being treated awful nice in space jail. His therapist robot lights cigars for him. So yeah, we'll have to see how this goes. This is my first exposure to Crush. I'd seen her in artwork on Teen Titans covers recently, but yeah, I like the character. I like it. Lobo's always fun. Intergalactic bounty hunter, all around asshole. To be perfectly honest, my favorite interpretation of Lobo was in was on Justice League and the Superman animated series, where he was voiced by oh God, I can't remember the actor's name. He played Ray's brother on Everybody Loves Raymond. But yeah, that was probably one of the best interpretations of Lobo ever. They actually made Lobo work for a cartoon aimed largely at children. Anyway, but yeah, Crush Lobo was a fun book. I'll definitely be looking forward to the remaining 7 issues. Anyways, moving on to our next book, we've got Crime Syndicate number 4. Where we left off here, we got Superwoman's origin story, and the Crime Syndicate came together for the first time ever to take down an invasion of Starros. So Atomica and Johnny Quick cause mayhem in Central City. John Stewart Power Ring declares Coast City under his protection and no one else's. One of the new gods, Lonar, is helping out. Has been helping Luthor, but Alexander's company. There's some, he's trying to avoid laying people off, but at the same time, he can't, saving the world, laying people, yeah. But Lonar managed to get him some potential help. A former Knight of Oa, Fall Sinestro, the only person to date to actually basically tell the ring to F off. Batwoman, Owlman and Superwoman go to Ultraman's Fortress of Solitude, which is kind of like, look at which the main chamber of which is basically a monument to just how awesome Ultraman is. But Superwoman explains one of the reasons that she's hanging out, that she's involved with this whole thing, is she needs an heir. And, well, Ultraman's more than happy to help there. We get a fight between Sinestro and John. Ultraman shows up to help with the cleanup in Metropolis. And it turns out that Thomas Wayne has bought enough Luthor Corp stock that he's on the board now. And in fact, he figures he'll likely be elected chairman. John goes in Coast City. John goes to see his daughter, but she wants nothing to do with him. So as far as she's concerned, her father's dead. But he ends up taking Sinestro's advice and joins the Legion of Justice alongside, looks like Cheetah, Titania, I think that's Mira, or it might be Ivy, Ronal, I think we got Harley as well, and of course Lex. We also get his origin story. He was a cop in Coast City. Took out a loan from the mob, paid it off so his daughter could get surgery. But the mob boss's son sees him like, hey, yeah, basically, we own you, His daughter sees him going off on the mob boss's kid, and then the ring shows up. He becomes an Emerald Knight, and he kills the kid. But his daughter's terrified now, and that's where the issue ends. I'm really digging Crime Syndicate, and this is another one where I'm kind of bummed this is going to be just a mini-series. I kind of want it to actually go somewhere, but I mean, it's cool seeing how the new version of Crime Syndicate came together, and I think this is the first time we've actually seen a version of Power Ring that was an analog of John Stewart. Usually they're either we got one that was Kyle Rayner. We got most of the others have been Hal Jordan based though. Anyway, moving on to our final book of the week, and this is going to be a book I'm doing a little bit differently because I can't talk much about it because I don't want to give too much away. It's a horror book called The Nice House on the Lake. The first issue of a miniseries by James Tynion IV, writer of Something Is Killing the Children and Batman. So, I'm just saying, this was an amazing first issue, and yeah, holy shit, dude. If if you dig comics and you like horror, seriously, jump on this now because it. Wow. Okay. The basic premise is that 12 people have been called up to this nice house on a lake for a weekend, for like a week or so, a week getaway from everything. And they're members of this guy Walter's various circles of friends that he's kept in touch with over the years. And each one of them is given a name, a symbol, so on and so forth. So we'll go over the names and the emails. Also, the primary character is Ryan. The artist. Ryan Kane, 26 years old, female. New York cluster. First encountered 5 years ago at Bird Garden 33 in Greenport as friend of the comedian's then girlfriend. Chosen in Brooklyn, New York 6 months ago. Next we have the writer. Nora Jacobs, 34 years old, female, high school cluster. First encountered 19 years ago outside the carpool entrance of Marquette University High School. Chosen in Milwaukee, Wisconsin 18 years ago. Name and gender revised 5 years ago. But apparently Ryan and Walter had a running conversation about the end of the world. What kind of apocalypse Ryan would like to see. Next up we have the comedian. David Day, 32 years old, male, college cluster, New York cluster. First encountered 11 years ago at the consultant's 21st birthday party at Sarah Lawrence College. Chosen in New York 4 years ago. The accountant. Molly Reynolds, 34 years old, female, high school cluster. First encountered 18 years ago at Mayfair Mall with her best friend, the scientist. Chosen in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 16 years ago. The scientist, Veronica Wright, 35 years old, female, high school cluster. First encountered 18 years ago at Marquette University High School musical auditions. Through her then boyfriend, the writer. Chosen in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 14 years ago. Government link, NASA. Next up, we have the reporter. Sam Wen, 34 years old, male. High school cluster, New York cluster. First encountered 17 years ago as friend of the painter at AP Art Room at Marquette University High School, chosen in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 16 years ago. Next up, the acupuncturist. Arturo Perez, 36 years old, male. New York cluster. First encountered 10 years ago at the reporter's 24th birthday party in Bedford Stuyvesant, chosen in Brooklyn, New York, 1 year ago. The consultant. Sarah Radnitz, 32 years old, female, college cluster, New York cluster. First encountered 12 years ago smoking outside dormitory in Sarah Lawrence College, chosen in Bronxville, New York, 12 years ago. Government link, Democratic National Committee. The doctor, Naya Radia, 34 years old, female, New York cluster. First encountered 9 years ago at 14th Street apartment following date with the pianist. Chosen in New York, 1 year ago. The pianist. Rick McEwen, 34 years old, male, college cluster, New York cluster. First encountered 13 years ago at Sarah Lawrence College Dining Hall. Chosen in Bronxville, New York, 12 years ago. But, so yeah, that's our cast of players. I gotta say, that's actually that's a neat way of introducing everybody. And, I'm not going into anything else from it because, yeah, this is not one of those ones I can really talk about so much. Suffice to say, holy shit, that's hands down this right here. This is the best book of the week, without question. Honestly, when I did the thumbnail for this video, I was just like, okay, well, I did 2 for the other 2 videos, so you know, what else do I even put? What else is even in the same ballpark with this? I mean, I enjoyed all these books, but good God, that was yeah. We'll discuss. At some point, I will discuss The Nice House on the Lake #1 and actually go into what happens in it. I may just wait till the whole thing's done and go over it all at once, but oh my God, yeah. Anyway, okay, all right, yeah, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.